she meets this guy, don't remember his name. Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my living room. The lighting, it's very dark today, so I thought I'd come down here where it's the brightest. Today we are filming the quarter 2 reads video. If you haven't watched the first quarter reads, go watch it. Basically in these videos I just talk about the books I read over the last 3 months and give you my thoughts and let you know like what I've been reading and what I've been enjoying. So this month I only have 2 actual books here, but I did read 4. So I think we should just jump right in. So the first book that I read in April was The Midnight Library, which is currently on loan to a family friend. So here is the cover. This book is about a girl who, I should say this book deals with a lot of trigger warnings and content warnings, so be sure to read that. I am gonna say a couple things, so trigger warnings for suicide, that's like the main one, and depression. So this girl is really upset with her life and everything keeps going wrong, and she decides to kill herself, and she wakes up in the Midnight Library where you can kind of like choose which, you can see all the different paths that your life could have gone and you can choose which one you want to go to. You can follow it for as long as it feels comfortable, and then as soon as it doesn't, you end up back in the library. It's a very interesting concept. I believe I rated it 3.5 stars. I read this a few months ago, obviously, because I read it in April, so I don't really remember all of my thoughts, but it is a really interesting premise, and it definitely got me thinking about like how certain decisions can change your life, which can be really like hard to think about, but it's also a little bit freeing because you realize that there are all these different paths that your life can go down. Yeah, so I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was a pretty quick read. It does deal with some heavier content warnings, so if you struggle with depression, suicidal thoughts, maybe stick away from this book, but I did really enjoy it, and everyone that I have passed it along to also really enjoyed it. Okay, the second book that I read is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. So I am part of the Not Wasting My 20s book club, and this was our book club pick for May. The premise of this book, I'll just read you the back. Lydia is dead, but they don't know this yet. So begins this exquisite novel about a Chinese-American family in the 1970s, small-town Ohio. Lydia is the favorite child of Marilyn and James Lee, and her parents are determined that she will fulfill the dreams they were unable to pursue. But when Lydia's body is found in the local lake, the delicate balancing act that has been keeping the Lee family together is destroyed, tumbling them into chaos. So, what did I rate this book? 4 stars. I enjoyed reading this book. I didn't think I was going to, but it was a very compelling read. It's really short too. It's just under 300 pages, so that's always good. Also, Celeste Ng is the author of Little Fires Everywhere, which I have not read, but it was a very popular book. I think we actually all agreed that we enjoyed the story of this book during book club, but we also all agreed we did not like any of the characters that much, and that the family is very aggravating at times. It's a really well-written story about how life was different in the 70s. Like, it definitely opens your eyes to that. There is so much miscommunication in this book that if people just ever sat down and talked to each other, this book would be over in 100 pages. But yeah, it's just like felt so real. Felt like it really told the story of a white woman marrying a Chinese man, and just like all the different issues that each person in the family was facing, and also a mystery about what happened to the daughter. So definitely enjoyed that book. The third book that I read this month, I also don't have because I got it out of the library and it had to go back, which is partly why I read it so fast. But the third book I read this month is Verity by Colleen Hoover. What did I rate this book? 4 stars. Yeah, if you've read this book, you will remember it because it is crazy. Basically, the plot of the book is Lowen is this author. She is like struggling financially. She meets this guy. Don't remember his name. Jeremy, whose wife is Verity, and she is this like super popular best-selling author, and she's like 3 books into her series about sin, and she gets into this terrible car crash, and Jeremy enlists Lowen's help to write the books under an alias to finish the series because Verity can't write. But it is a lot more than that. So she ends up going and living in their house. How does the summary describe it? While there, Lowen uncovers a hidden manuscript, an autobiography containing chilling admissions Verity planned to take to her grave, including the truth behind the events that turned their lives upside down. And Lowen begins to develop feelings for Jeremy. It's a lot. The ending of this book is one of the most insane endings I've ever read. Again, if you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. The number of people within our book club, we didn't read it with book club, but who have messaged the group chat being like, oh my god, has anyone read this? It's a crazy book. Again, there is trigger warnings for like graphic violence, abuse, sex. There's a lot of sex. So just do with that what you will. I really enjoyed the book. I have heard that Colleen Hoover's books are slightly problematic, and I do agree that this one is pretty problematic when it comes to discussions of like abuse. It's very nonchalant, but I did enjoy the plot overall. I read it quite quickly, and I feel like her books are definitely ones you can just like read very quickly, kind of binge all in 1 or 2 days. So if you like that kind of thing, go for it. It wasn't my favorite book I've ever read, but I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So there you go. Okay, and the 4th book that I read this month I do have here, and it is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This was the book club pick for June. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, for June. I finished it last weekend. I really enjoyed this book. Many people within the book club did not. And as you kind of discuss it with people and kind of pull it apart, you do realize that there are quite a few problematic elements within this book. So a warning, but it is a sapphic romance. The plot of the book is August moves to New York to finish school and get away from her mom, who is basically looking for her long lost brother who has like been who has disappeared for however long, and she's always enlisted August in like trying to find where he is, and it's a cold case. Anyway, so she moves to New York and she meets this girl on the train. I'm just reading what the back says so I don't spoil anything. Yeah, so she realizes that the girl she meets on the train is literally displaced in time from the 1970s, and she's trying to figure out how to get her back there. So I hate the idea of this book. Time travel is really not something that I enjoy reading or watching, but I really kind of bought into it right off the bat, and I enjoyed it. I thought the romance is cute. I feel like the side romances are cuter than the main romance, but that's okay. So overall, I think if you're just reading this book for what it is, which is like a light sapphic mystery, sci-fi, it's cute. It was a good read. It's a little bit long. I did give it 5 stars. If you do kind of dig into the details a little bit more and pay a little bit more attention to some of the nuances in the book, you do start to realize that it's a little bit problematic. There's a few things that don't really fit the real worldview and more fit the author's worldview, which is normal. But yeah, it's an interesting read. I enjoyed it, but do with the other opinions what you will. Read some Goodreads reviews and see what you think. I think this is probably the first female romance that I've read, and I really enjoyed it for that. And it's cute. It's got some good sex scenes in it. They spend a lot of time on the train. I'm just gonna put that out there. And the other issue with this book is that there are so many things trying to happen in one story, and that just kind of muddles the main plot. But I enjoyed it. I did recommend it to some people, so see what you think. I think it's a good read. All right, and those are my 4 reads from the months of April, May, and June. I have 4 books on the docket for July, so if I make it through all 4, it'll be a very big review when we get to the end of September. So stay tuned. I'm going to be posting a bunch of vlogs about reading coming up, especially when I'm trying to read 4 books this month. So
wait a minute.
It's me again from a day or so later. I realized I lost the footage of me pulling my tarot cards for the July tarot readathon that I'm a part of. So I thought I'd just show you the cards and the corresponding prompts and stuff, and then also the other 2 books I'm reading. So this is now a quarter reads wrap up and July TBR. So the 2 books, it's been a long day. The 2 cards that I drew were the Father of Swords. Not me like holding my hand up to block my face, but then leaning around.
Not this.
The Father of Swords and the 8 of Cups. Okay, I've got my iPad here, so I'm just gonna pull open the prompts. This is the prompts thing. I can insert it. So the 8 of Cups is read a book with a character that has an absent parent or significant other. I should note that I'm on Team Wands, which is led by Jess. Books Past Bedtime, I believe, is her channel. I'll leave it down below. And because of that, our superpower is that we can start books up to 50% of the way through before the readathon. So the readathon starts on the 8th of July. So we can have started the books before and still count all the pages towards the points. So operating with that and the prompt of absent parent or significant other, I am going to finish reading The Marrow Thieves by Sherry Dimeline. I started this book in June for Indigenous Reads, and I didn't finish it because it took me the whole month of June to read one last stop. So I didn't finish it, but I will. I'm only like 50 pages into it, so I have plenty left to read for the readathon. The premise of this book is that it's in the future and the world's completely destroyed by global warming, and the indigenous people of North America are being hunted for their bone marrow, which carries the key to recovering something the rest of the population has lost, which is the ability to dream. So this follows Frenchie and his group. They're struggling to survive, and basically the government is sending people to try and catch them and take them back to these schools to harvest their bone marrow, I assume, or to use their bone marrow in some case. This book won Canada Reads. This book is super, super popular, and it's actually the first book in the sequel. Yeah, so I started it for Indigenous Reads, but I'm gonna read this. He doesn't have a family in this book, so it fits the prompt. And the other prompt, the Father of Swords, which is also the King of Swords. So the King of Swords prompt is read a book with scientific elements, so sci-fi, scientist character, etc. So currently I have selected Contact by Carl Sagan. My parents recommended this one to me, actually. I am currently on hold for a different copy from the library because I don't like reading really thick paperbacks like this. Oh, I'm hoping to get another one. This is a pretty long book though. Oh, it's actually only like 500 pages. Let me pull up a synopsis because there isn't one on this. Okay, so the concept is, that's the French. Okay, according to this, it's a 1985 hard science fiction novel by American scientist Carl Sagan. It deals with the theme of contact between humanity and a more technically advanced extraterrestrial life form. Ta-da! I don't really like sci-fi. There's certain sci-fis that I do really like, actually. Like, I really like Kurt Vonnegut books. I really like Fahrenheit 451. I don't know if that's considered sci-fi or dystopian, but I'm gonna give it a try. There's nothing in our cards that say that your TBR has to be set and stay that way, I'm pretty sure. So I might be able to change this up if I don't like it, but I don't really know what else I would read. So I've only picked 2 for now because I also have 2 other books I'm trying to get through this month, and I normally read 1 book a month, so this is going to be interesting. The first book is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutano. I am already 12 chapters into this book and I love it. It might be my favorite book I've read all year so far. Basically, the main character, Medi, she accidentally kills her blind date, and then her 4 aunts step in to like help save the day, and it is so funny. Like, I just keep reacting out loud while I'm reading it. I'll have to see if I can do a reading vlog where I just like react because it's so funny. This is the beginning of the month July pick for Not Wasting My 20s book club, and the end of the month of July book club pick is With Malice by Eileen Cook. And it's about this girl who gets into an accident while she's studying abroad or just traveling abroad, and then she kind of forgets what happens, but she might have not accidentally done whatever happened. So it's like a thriller, young adult. It should be an easy read. We normally pick 1 adult, generally like adult contemporary, and then 1 young adult. And I normally don't do the young adult, but this one piqued my interest. So this is the stack for the month of July. Hooray! Wish me luck. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Comment down below the best book that you've read this month, and I'll see you guys, or this quarter, or this month, or this week, or if you don't read that often, this year, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!